Finally, the letters, your worship, was sent to the CEOs. The following even the governor took office. Actually, the following day after the governor took office, one of them was issued on the 29th.
For the relationship between your clients and the county government of Meru.
Yes, and that's why I put the right house, the first respondent is right house, the letters, and then the second respondent is the board, and that is...
That's Mr. Maranya. So I would have to send you to serve and come back before the right court, Mr. Maranya.
Yes, sir. Because if you look at my petition, and particularly, if you can serve me, if I will come earliest, perhaps.
Application to be served on the respondents.
In the circumstances, Your Lordship, I will pray that we appear before you as early as possible.
10 a.m. What is the date on Tuesday? 4th, on 4th of October.
Could you appear on Monday just...
Ms. Kedogo, for the interested. Ms. Kedogo, for Ms. Rumaras, for the interested party. Who is for the petition? Who is for the petitioner?
Yes, Your Lordship. My name is Kamiru.
Mr. Kamiru is for the petitioner.
The ones who are married should be very careful.
It has been declared unconstitutional. That's what we want.
The court does not find evidence that evidence has been adduced as to discrimination of women under the customs and practices of the peoples in the areas set out in Section 33 of the Law of Succession Act with regard to inheritance matters relating to the property set out in Section 32 thereof, to warrant any intervention by the court. Discrimination of women and female children under the impugned provisions of Section 35 and 36 of the Law of Succession Act is, however, textually clear. And in terms of Article 27 of the Constitution, the provisions of the Law of Succession Act would be unconstitutional. And therefore, the orders that the court makes in this regard is that for the reasons we have set out in the judgment, a declaration shall be and is hereby issued that Section 35(1)(b) of the Law of Succession Act is declared unconstitutional. 2, a declaration is issued that Section 36(1)(b) of the Law of Succession Act is declared unconstitutional. However, as regards Section 32 and 33 of the Law of Succession Act, the prayer for declaration of invalidity is declined. 4, the prayers directing the Attorney General to take measures for requisite legislative reforms and to produce quarterly reports on progress thereon are declined. A copy of the judgment herein, however, shall be transmitted to the Office of the Attorney General for information and action as he may deem fitting. There shall be no order as to costs, and that is the order of the court today, the 29th of September, 2022.
John Bakbedu, and I'm with my colleagues here from Ripples International. We are in court today because of a constitutional suit that we filed about a couple of months ago. And what we had stated in the petition is that Kenya is signatory to a host of international conventions, treaties, protocols, optional protocols, you name them. But the paradox has been how to garner those laws to effectively support the rights of women within the country. So this particular petition it's a constitutional suit targeting the Secession Act of Kenya, Act 160 of Kenya, and there are certain portions which we found discriminatory. Some of these portions are named as Section 32, Section 35, and Section 39 of the Secession Act, and which we felt was discriminatory and doesn't contribute to equality of persons within Kenya. First of all, we would say that the law itself, the Secession Act of Kenya, is not universally applicable. If you are a Muslim, you are advised not to go, when it comes to issues of secession, you will have to use other laws other than the Secession Act. And then when you live in certain parts of Kenya, this law is not applicable to you. That's the first thing we found was discriminatory. The second thing that we found discriminatory was when it comes to issues of women, if you are a widow, Section 35 states that you will lose all your entitlements if you decide to remarry. And that is what has brought us to court today. We found that portion discriminatory. Women who desire to remarry, the rights accruing to women who desire to remarry, widows who desire to remarry, is taken away by this same law, which we felt needed to be corrected. And that's why we are in court today. I'm here with all my colleagues fighting this in the same spirit and agenda to ensure that laws that are discriminatory, especially to women, are weeded out within our communities.
What about the court now? With the judgment?
So with this particular judgment, what we had we were seeking for was a declaration that those portions that I have just talked about are unconstitutional and ought to be removed from that law. So today it's a victory for women, because those sections that I have mentioned have been declared unconstitutional, and it forms a basis for us for law reform in this country.
Now maybe there are some
There's section 35, 1B, section 32, and then there's section 39. One was not ruled upon, and so you could see that we have brought it to the attention of the court that section has not been ruled upon, and then it is we have that promise that the full judgment, as it comes out, will have that portion included. This forms a basis for law reform within the country, because the drafters of the law must find a reason why they have to change the laws. And this forms a basis for us to change the laws, because it is discriminatory, and it is also, it fosters inequality within the country. Yes, it has been inspired by, the widows within our communities complain a lot, because anytime they want to step out to get married, this part of the law pops up, because the moment they get remarried, it means they are going to lose all property, I mean any capital assets that they might have acquired over the years. So we found out that the women were more happy remaining in consensual unions rather than rather than getting married. So this has been a huge problem for our women. So the law gives if you look at the Marriage Act, it tells you have a right to get married to anybody that you want to. So that is a law which is granting you a right. And then this law comes and takes out that right away from you. So it gives you with the right hand and takes away with the left. And that is what we are trying to weed from the laws and make sure that all these laws are consistent with the international conventions, protocols, treaties, optional protocols that we have. In a layman's language, I'll say that the fight for equality and discrimination has now been, we can see ourselves going forward in our fight against discrimination and inequality within our country.